Thanks for coming, everybody. Today Alex and I are going to be talking about the switching journey that we've been through with Sainsbury's, from the procurement process to switching to billing to business as usual. We're going to look at it from Sainsbury's perspective and from our perspective as the water retailer, give you a wee bit of advice on what worked well, what could have been improved. So the agenda, we're going to give you a wee bit about myself and Alex, talk about our companies, Sainsbury's drivers for switching, the process that we went through, the journey itself, what's happened since, and then the key learnings for that, and then we can have some questions at the end.
Okay, over to me then. So I'm Alex Griffiths. I am the Utilities and Renewables Specialist for Sainsbury's Argos. I've been in the industry for around about 7 years now, and I started off from a consultancy background. I moved over to Sainsbury's in May 15, and I've historically always been involved in the electricity and gas side of the business until I took water on 2 years ago. Day to day, I manage the water estate from an operational perspective, so looking at high consumption, leak detection, billing, arranging the payments, and also dealing with our suppliers as well. Within the last couple of months, I've also taken on our renewables estate as well, so I'm now responsible for making sure our income's coming in versus budget in terms of RHI, ROCs and FITs as well.
Me. Just to remind myself, I've been in the water business for about 23 years. The last 5 of them's been in the retail business up in Scotland. I'm a key account manager with Water Plus, looking after obviously customers like Sainsbury's and Argos. My original area expertise was in water hygiene and treatment, and obviously now it's all about water retail, and things have really ramped up since the market opened in England in 2017. So we tend to use the experiences that we've gained in Scotland to sort of help our customers in England with their switching. That's enough about me. So Water Plus, I mean, some people might have heard of it, some might not. Earlier on today, Brian was doing a wee bit about Water Plus. We're basically a joint venture between Severn Trent and United Utilities. When the market was opening, the wholesalers and retailer wings had to separate, so Severn Trent and United Utilities decided to form a joint venture. We've got about 360,000 business customers, 30% of the market share, and we are the largest water retailer in the UK. Since market opened, we have achieved £2.2 million of tangible water savings for our customers through water efficiency measures, leak detection, etc. That's it.
Okay, a bit about Sainsbury's for those who don't know. John James and Mary Ann Sainsbury opened their first Sainsbury's store on Drury Lane, London, back in 1869. It'd be fair to say that the estate's grown quite significantly in the subsequent 148 years. We're now up to around about 1,400 supermarkets and convenience across the UK. This was extended further 1 year ago, almost to the day, when we acquired Argos. So we're now looking at around about 2,000 sites across the whole of the country, and we've almost got 200,000 colleagues working for us as well. This makes us one of the largest retailers in the UK. So, our corporate sustainability plan was outlined back in 2005-2006, where we set ourselves goals of 30% absolute water reduction and 55% relative reduction by 2020. The reality is we've already hit those goals, if not exceeding them already. We've been pretty good over the last 10 years or so in terms of our water efficiency programme. We've rolled out waterless urinals, we've got rainwater harvesting, percussion taps, water management systems, and also use water AMR across the estate as well. So we're pretty good at that. These are all standard spec in our new stores as well. It would be fair to say that we are still always looking to reduce our consumption further. So we're always looking at new innovation, new technology, and we're always looking for the new next best thing in terms of water and how we can reduce and manage our consumption more efficiently and effectively even more. So, as you guys will probably know, the market opened 1st of April. So some of the key drivers are on the board here in terms of what we would have been looking for as part of our switch. First one is a dedicated account manager. So going back historically, we would have dealt with 20 plus water companies across the whole of the UK. It proved pretty difficult to get to the bottom of certain queries. We didn't always have a dedicated account management team. That's changed now. In the new world, we've got a key account manager here in Anne. It does a great job for us. And we also have regular operational meetings now where we can bring any sort of queries, concerns. Every 6 to 7 weeks we sit down around the table and we thrash these out. Consolidated billing. Again, going back historically, we've got 20 plus bills from lots of different water companies, all on different billing cycles. It was pretty difficult to manage. We'd have actual reads, estimated reads. Again, when the market opened, one of the key requirements was to have one single bill. Negotiated price. Now, I think Brian touched on this earlier this morning. There's not a huge amount of value in the margins at the moment, but there was a very, very small margin, and our procurement guys wanted to pursue that. And maybe probably one of the key factors as well that that we got from the process of switching was the negotiated contract terms. So for us, it was quite important to have. It was quite important for us to have payment terms in line with our other utilities. So electricity, gas, we wanted water on the same billing terms. Payment terms. We also wanted bills to come out in line with our financial calendar as well, which isn't always easy because we have 13 periods. We don't have 12 months like a lot of other businesses out there. Okay, so the procurement process. The reality is we were actually watching the market a good 12 months ahead of it opening. We attended events through the MEUC. We listened to what Ofwat were saying. We listened to what Mosul was saying. And we reached an internal decision around about October last year that we would go out to tender. So we sat down with procurement and we scoped out specifically what we would do. Data. Data is one of the key things to the whole process. Over the past few years, we've built up a very good data quality set, something we were very confident in. And we also have great knowledge of our water estate as well. So that wasn't much of a problem. We drew up a list of requirements. What did we want from our retailer? What KPIs do we want in place? And are these achievable and realistic? We also looked at our strategy as well. Did we want one retailer or did we want to divide the estate up and have several? What type of product did we want? And how long did we want to go into a contract for? So, the process. We initially sent out an RFI, although it's not detailed on there, to initially gauge who was out there, who was interested in bringing the business in, and were they capable of handling the estate of the complexity of ours and also the requirements that we would want. We followed that up with an RFP, listing out our specific requirements and, more importantly, that all the responses were met and we had offers on a like-for-like basis. We reached our final decision in March. It didn't leave much time for switching, but Anne and the team managed to pull that out. Our ultimate decision was actually to split our estate in half between Water Plus and Business Stream. So the north was awarded to Water Plus and the south was awarded to Business Stream.
Excellent. So from our perspective, we obviously followed the whole process here and we got the decision, although it said 8th of March on here, it was actually the 10th of March, and we were shooting for a 1st of April switch. The fact that we'd worked so hard on the data to get it into a place where it was workable meant that we were able to achieve that. But we're going to talk about switching next, I believe. Right, so this slide's all about the switching process. So at Waterplus, we've got a 6-stage process we go through. We collect the data, we validate the data, we put it through the switching process, we get the meter reads, we give the first bill, the customer's business as usual. Then the next slide up gives you a wee bit more detail about how it works, because I think that some customers might think that it's a wee bit of a mystery to them how the whole switching works, to take that worry away. So in this instance, sometimes if we have the time, we can decide to do a data check before we switch. So we'll sit with the data set and we'll check every line and make sure everything's okay, and only switch it when we know that it's correct. That's not what Sainsbury's wanted this time. We wanted just to go ahead, switch the estate as it is, and then at our leisure we would correct any data errors. If there's anything major, Mosul would kick it back out anyway, so we put everything into the process, and it all works really well. So now we're working through making sure that the charging data and everything that we've got and that we've switched is correct. The fact of the matter is, there's no detriment in doing that. You maintain the status quo. If you've been incorrectly charged before, you still will be until we see it and we fix it. So it was more important that we did it fast and got it done, and we managed to hit that switch date of the 1st of April with the Sainsbury's and Argos estate. So they bought less than a month after the contract appointment. We'd switched everything, and then we got the first consolidated bills out by July. Single bill for Sainsbury's and one for Argos. So this just details the switching process and the granularity of how it works in Waterplus. So all of our data goes into our CRM system. It then automatically pushes through into MECOMS, which is our billing system. MECOMS then communicates with Mosul. Any exceptions come back out and they don't switch, so it's a rejection. There's 2 instances in which you can reject. It's debt over 90 days of customer already in contract, and that's up to the incumbent to reject those things. We didn't have any rejections for Sainsbury's. And of all the SPIDs we switched, I think only 2 of them had to go back. It was just an incorrect property address. So that was a fantastic result. Once they switch in Mosul, it'll straight back into our billing system, and then everything's all consolidated in there for a consolidated bill, and it's every 28 days for Sainsbury's.
Okay, back over to me then. So, considering we were looking at around about 2,000 suppliers, it would be fair to say that switching went brilliant for Sainsbury's. It couldn't have gone any better. At a time when it was probably seen that it was a little bit uncertain, we went through it with flying colours. Yeah. Again, like I said earlier, Anne's team, the support team, was superb throughout that, and we've gone through it without relatively any hitches whatsoever. So since the 1st of April, we've continued to build on solid relationship. We've got good foundations there from our relationship in Scotland. And that's continued on into the English market as well. I touched on it earlier, but we have regular face-to-face operational meetings, and these are superb on addressing any queries or concerns we've got, and I would recommend that with anybody looking to go through a switch themselves. We've also had Waterplus take on some of our longer-term, more complex queries that we've had real issues with. And I think it would be fair to say that we've actually started to make headway into some of those queries with the legacy wholesalers. Something else that's really kicked on since switching was meeting Anne's advanced service team. So now we're looking at opportunities in regards to benchmarking, the water efficiency app that's also on offer from Waterplus, water reduction and initiatives, further investigations into new technology around water AMR and innovation as well. Probably the only negative that we've seen as a business since market opening was around billing. To date, we're still seeing our legacy water wholesalers still billing beyond our switch date, and we've still got around about 70% of our estate that's still yet to be billed up to the 31st of March. This is something that Anne's going to pick up for us going forward and support on.
I think with regards to the bill passed, that's a market issue that our regulations team are dealing with, and basically all of the water retailers are having to work in conjunction with each other to sort it. It's to do with how transactions happen in the market and which metrics each of the the retailers take as having completed a switch. But everybody's working together, everybody knows what's going on, and they're all being very adult and very sensible about it. So at the end of the day, everything that we switch for Alex on the 1st of April will be billed by us from the 1st of April, and us as the retailers in the market will sort out all the sort of bill past issues, and it's well in hand with our regulations team. It's not fantastic, but we wouldn't like to sit here and tell you that everything just went perfectly, but that's kind of the only negative really, and it's not a massive big deal.
Agreed,
so we'll get to the bottom of it. With regards to Alex saying that we picked up some of the long-standing issues, the other thing about the market opening is that we now have leverage to go to the wholesalers and to impress upon them the importance of dealing with things and filling bilateral forms in, and then constantly chasing them for results to get things done, whereas potentially the kind of languished with the wholesaler and the customer was having issues getting the wholesaler to deal with them. Now we've got a whole team in Water Plus that are continually chasing all of these queries, and as Alex said, we're getting them towards resolution, and some of these are maybe over a year old, but we've got SLAs and KPIs, we've got a market code in place, and it's up to us as the retailers to hold the wholesalers to account, and that's what we do to get these issues resolved. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so three key learnings from myself this afternoon and recommendation to any other guys that are looking to switch. First one is know your water data and ensure that your data is as accurate and up to date as possible. Second one, know what you want to get out of your tender and what you want from your retailer. And the third one would be, and Brian touched on this again this morning, ensure that you're comparing offers on a like-for-like basis. Yeah.
The key point for customers is to know that in this open market, it's in your gift to decide what you want. What I would say is choose the top 3 to 5 things that are important to you. Sometimes we can get tenders in that are pages and pages long, and there might be 100 different requests in there, but only 3 of them are actual deal breakers for the customers. So choose the things that are important to you, the things that will be best for your business, and make sure it's explicit in your tender. Make sure that the form of tender is not open to interpretation, so that you get that, because there's nothing worse than spending weeks and weeks after you've gone through the whole process trying to get your retailers to come up with something that's comparable. So that's pretty key, the like-for-like thing, so that you're truly getting the best deal in all of the things that it is that you want, because that's what the open market's all about. Drives down costs, drives up service, all of the things that Brian was talking about earlier. If there's any questions?
Any questions?
Just wonder if you could explain your decision to split your retailers between the north and the south?
It was a leap into the unknown, really. We didn't really know what to expect. In terms of the tender process, both the retailers that won their share of the business were very, very close in terms of what they were offering. And I suppose it was a way of mitigating the risk a little bit. If we split the estate in half, we're not putting all our eggs in one basket. A bit of friendly competition maybe, and see how it goes from there.
As a percentage, how much do you think you've saved?
Again, for us as a business, it's not a huge amount. For us, it was more about the extra services we're getting. We're getting the account management team. We're getting a contract that is in line with what we get for electricity and gas in terms of service levels and KPIs and that side of it. Single bills when we want them, in the format we want them, and the payment terms as well with what we've got with electricity and gas as well.